My name is Linda Gilkerson, and I'm on the faculty at the Erickson Institute in Chicago, and had the privilege around 11 years ago of working with my colleagues there to start the Fussy Baby Network.
I'm Maria Basardito. I'm a clinical psychologist and infant mental health specialist at Erickson Institute.
What we learned from families is that they had many experiences where they felt that others didn't understand what they were going through. And people who wanted to help so much were often giving them advice and were often encouraging them to do things that maybe they tried and hadn't worked. So what they were really looking for was someone to really be right where they were and offer just what they needed. And that's what the FAN model helps us do. It helps us really think with parents and about parents to understand where they need our support in the moment. Do they need support around their feelings? And if so, we can offer that kind of listening with acceptance. Do they need support to think about their baby? And that is most helpful when their emotions are contained and they're trying to figure something out. Or are they ready to try something new? Are they ready to do something? And if that's where they are, we can support them in taking those new steps and caring for their baby in a new way. So the FAN really helps us stay focused on the family and stay calm ourselves on these visits. In the middle of the FAN is the parent's urgent concern. So we're always thinking about what's on their mind and how to be most helpful to them. And then we have 5 different wedges of the FAN that give us different ways to be with parents and also a way to watch ourselves and to make sure we are really attuned to them. So the first wedge is the feeling wedge. And if parents are upset, distressed, sad, that's where they need our support then. They don't need us to be giving them ideas or suggestions when they're holding back tears. So the FAN helps us judge and match what the parent needs from us. The second wedge is the calming wedge, and that's the one for us as home visitors, where we have to track and monitor ourselves and make sure that we are really staying calm and fully present to them. And we can catch ourselves in the moment and come back on track when we're with them. The third wedge of the FAN is called the thinking wedge, and that works for families when they're not upset or distressed and when they're trying to figure something out. Then they need us to help them sort it out. What's their baby doing? What have they tried? What's their theory of the problem? Why do they think their baby's crying so much? All of this is a part of the thinking wedge. Then there comes a time when the parent's actually ready to do something new, when they're ready to do it, not when I'm ready for them. That's where I have to stay calm and really wait for them to say, I want to try something new. And that's when we can support them in trying something. We have a particular way of being with parents in this doing wedge. We call it the fussy baby moment. So that's when we're with, say, a family has told us that around 4 o'clock their baby has what they call the howling hour. And there you are on a home visit with them, and sure enough, it's 4 o'clock, and there it begins. Everything in you might want to take over, might want to show them what to do. But what we've learned is to step back at that moment and to ask, to acknowledge it. This is the cry you were telling me about. I see it too. To be really right there with them. And then to affirm their role as a parent. Please feel free to do whatever you need to do to support your baby. And then to offer our support. And I'm here with you. So from that base, you have a lot of options. You can just observe and be with them and offer your encouragement. Or you can maybe add an idea or two in as you watch them try and soothe their baby. But again, they're the one in the end that's going to be doing it. We learned this early on as we started our program, when we would leave the house. Sure enough, you could hear the baby start crying as you close the door. Who's behind the door? It's the parent. They're the one that's going to be calming the fussy baby. So this FAN helps us keep that in mind and support them, in doing the caregiving.
One way we like to think about it is the FAN as a sort of a GPS that can help you match where the parent is at, but it can also help you map the contact. And this session or this home visit you're having with the parent, try to see where they're at and am I attuned to what they're needing at that point? So it can help you in a way attune to what they're needing, but also realize if maybe you're not matching where they are right then. So if I'm trying to think with a parent who is in a feeling mode, that's not going to be necessarily helpful or the most helpful then. So it's kind of like recalculating where the parent is, where I am, and how can we meet each other and for us to be the most helpful we can be.
We offer training to home visiting programs. We're training physicians and training a range of professionals to use this FAN framework to help guide them with parents.
So in that sense, we think of the FAN as a family communication tool and as a tool that can make you have more understandable encounters, or it's a tool that can make encounters with parents more understandable, to see where they are and what they're needing and how can you offer that to them. Another way in which the FAN can be useful for clinicians is the fact that it offers a training and a lot of strategies in which you can start thinking about mindful self-regulation for yourself as a clinician. Mindful self-regulation means an awareness without judgment of where you are and how you're feeling. As a clinician, this can be helpful to you in terms of helping you really understand where you are, ground yourself in your work with families, and hold the different feelings that get stirred up while working with families that have a fussy baby. It can be a very intense experience, and in order to maintain that connection with the family, you need to be aware of where you are, how you are feeling, hold that, and reconnect with the family. So the FAN really provides a very clear framework on how to think about self-regulation and how that can impact your work with the family.
We're working with a wonderful home visitor who said, I only can tolerate hearing a baby cry for 5 minutes on a home visit, and then I go get that baby and show the parent what to do. That after the training, when she learned about mindful self-regulation, she said, I literally learned in my mind to sit on my hands and calm myself in that moment. And I went back on a home visit with a young mom. The baby started to cry, and I didn't go grab the baby. I calmed myself, and I thought about it in a new way. And I said to the mom, does your baby's crying worry you? And she said, no, you know I'm going back to school. I'm getting her on a schedule, and I'm starting today. And so the home visitor realized she had a new understanding of that parent and a new way to help her.
So one example of a family that has really benefited from our FAN approach and from the Fussy Baby Network program is the family of a little 6-week-old that we saw a while ago. The parents called our warm line very concerned because he had a really hard time sleeping during the day and needed to be held at all times and was crying excessively, the parents felt. When we set up the home visit, and once I was out there and we started the home visit, I began by asking the parents how had it been like for them taking care of their baby for this time. They both shared it had been a wonderful experience, but very stressful. They were also able to share that they were a little concerned about the fact that he only looked or strongly preferred looking to the right side. But immediately said that the doctor had ruled torticollis out, so they knew that was not a cause for worry. And what they were really worried about was the fact that this was going to interfere with his future development. So once those feelings had been heard and held, the parents appeared significantly more relieved, and we were able to explore a little more what were they seeing in him. We were also able to talk about the things that had worked in terms of calming him, and they really had very nice strategies with him. I could see the baby at a fussy baby moment during the visit, and the mom really just held him very nicely and was able to comfort him very quickly, which was not something she was really aware of. The worry and the concern was clouding so much at that point and was really so present in her mind that it made it very difficult to focus on the things that she was doing rightly. By being on collaborative exploration and exploring the things that had worked and what they had already tried, we were able to see that maybe what made sense for them at that point was having a second opinion, and maybe having an early intervention evaluation. I wondered with them about maybe more concrete strategies that could help him soothe. An infant massage was one of them, so we set up a home visit and taught them those techniques. And just how more contained those parents were after one home visit, it made a significant difference. And seeing just how relieved and more contained those parents were left after one home visit, it really made a difference in the way that they felt as parents, in their own confidence in parenting this little baby, and the way in which they could see what he was struggling with and see it in a renewed way.